Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. You are listening to the Daily Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you enjoyed those NFL playoffs and that national championship game last night. I hope your week is going well and that you, your family, and friends are staying strong and staying healthy right now. And let's jump in to that college football championship last night, because those Indiana Hoosiers completed what might be the most improbable and most impressive turnaround in college football history on Monday night as they beat the Miami Hurricanes in Miami 27-21. Heisman-winning quarterback Fernando Mendoza rushed for one touchdown, and I don't know that he was great, but he just kept making play after play when he needed to, and the Hoosiers win their first football championship in history. Hey, remember that from 1995 until 2023, that is 29 years, the Hoosiers won an average of 4 games per season. They were the team that everyone scheduled for homecoming. They were the easy win. But in 2 seasons under head coach Curt Cignetti, the Hoosiers have now gone 11-2 last year, and now 16-0 this year. You know, what was interesting on Monday night was that the Miami defense, hey, they actually did a pretty good job of stopping the Indiana offense. The Hoosiers only gained 317 total yards. That's pretty good. But the Hoosiers outplay you in every phase of the game. They definitely outplayed Miami on special teams. They blocked a punt for a touchdown. And I thought Curt Cignetti actually kind of outcoached Miami head coach Mario Cristobal. Why Cristobal didn't get the ball to playmaker Malachi Toney like 57 times instead of just 14 times, and that's including punt returns, I will never know. Because Toney was the most explosive player on the field by far. And I mean, they threw him the ball 10 times. Nice. Oh, I'd have been giving him the ball on every single play, though. But hey, Indiana is just so efficient. They don't turn it over. They don't take many penalties. They don't miss many tackles. And that kind of gets overlooked. That defense, they are one of the best tackling defenses I have seen at that level. And yes, quarterback Fernando Mendoza, I don't know, he seems like the result of like Kirk Cousins and Andrew Luck having a nerdy homeschooled baby together, but he was the perfect quarterback for this team. Hey, congrats to the Indiana Hoosiers and their fans who just found out like 6 weeks ago that their school even had a football program. Hey, I hope all those fans back in Bloomington, Indiana get to party with Fernando Mendoza and eat all the dino nuggets and drink all the zero sugar Sprite that they can possibly handle. Today on The Dose, we will break down those NFL playoffs as it was another wild weekend in the divisional round. We will be making our predictions for the championship games and who will be moving on to Super Bowl 60. Plus, we have an NFL-flavored Daily Dose Top 5 today, as we are going to be seeing something in the NFL that we don't see very often. But first, let's jump into a little bit of NFL news. You know, the Buffalo Bills can't cut quarterback Josh Allen. But darn it, someone's going to pay for the Bills' loss to the Broncos in the divisional playoffs on Saturday. So since the Lego Tower won't go together like they want it, the Buffalo Bills ownership is going to kick the Legos across the floor and show them who's boss. The Bills fired head coach Sean McDermott on Monday. I don't know that it's going to help that Lego Tower get built any quicker, but it'll make them feel a little bit better in the here and the now. Hey, Josh Allen didn't have Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Joe Burrow to contend with in the playoffs, but he is still in Cancun this week, sobbing into his margarita. So Sean McDermott will leave Buffalo with a 98-50 record. However, he did have that 8-8 mark in the postseason, including 2 AFC championship losses to those Kansas City Chiefs. But hey, McDermott did win 5 consecutive AFC titles from 2020 to 2024. He finished second this year, but they were 12-5 just behind the Patriots this season. So now, New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, who has been on the job exactly 1 year, yeah, he has the most tenure in that division. Hey, I don't know if Sean McDermott was really the guy, but he was pretty good, and you could do worse. But the grass is always greener. We will see if the Bills actually get someone better, or if they just end up hiring the next, Rex Ryan, the next Doug Marrone, the next Chan Gailey. You think you're going to do better, but you might not do better. Ask the Chargers. I personally think McDermott kind of doomed himself when he complained about the refs, instead of complaining about how he put Josh Allen in a shotgun situation late in the first half, and then Josh Allen made a dumb mistake and got stripped of the football and gave the Broncos 3 free points, which of course is what they won the game by. John Harbaugh has agreed to become the next head coach of the New York Giants. He was the first hiring in this head coaching cycle. Now, Harbaugh inherits a good young quarterback in Jackson Dart, who just needs to learn how to protect himself. But he also inherits a defense that was among the worst in the league. Can Harbaugh fix all of that? I'm not so sure. It's at least going to take some time. And then, not long after that deal was finalized, news broke that the Atlanta Falcons would be hiring former Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. Now, that kind of surprised me. But the Falcons have some weapons. And Stefanski will have immediately more than he ever had in Cleveland. Hey, he's pretty good with quarterbacks. I know the Shedeur Sanders crowd doesn't want to hear that, but remember what Sanders did for Baker Mayfield. So this means the Pittsburgh Steelers, Miami Dolphins, Baltimore Ravens, Arizona Cardinals, Las Vegas Raiders, and Cleveland Browns all still need to find their head coach. Now, I would think Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula would be on their radar. Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak should get a job based on his first name alone, even though he misspells it. And Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter could get a few calls as well. Hey, if you don't think a head coach matters in the NFL, think of situations like those New England Patriots, like the Denver Broncos, even like the Chicago Bears. It matters. It matters a lot. Moving over to Major League Baseball, you may have missed it, but the Los Angeles Dodgers went out and made another big money signing. The Dodgers grabbed right fielder Kyle Tucker and backed up the money truck to get him. The Dodgers gave Tucker a 4-year, $240 million contract, which might be insane for a guy that always seems to have that dreaded word potential thrown around him more than production. But hey, the Dodgers don't care. They spend money like drunken sailors on leave, and it just keeps working out well for them. So this currently puts the Dodgers on top of the spending in Major League Baseball at $413 million for the upcoming season, and they're probably not done. Second place will be the New York Mets, who just gave Bo Bichette a 3-year, $126 million deal. Hey, this is insane. The rich keep getting richer. Here is a word of caution, baseball fans. Enjoy this season of Major League Baseball. Watch every game. Find those playoff games that are showing on the Food Network at like 3 a.m. on a Tuesday, because baseball is about to go away for quite a while after this year, and it might be a long while.
Let's just say that I don't have to worry about working for a while. A long while.
That's funny because I haven't seen you working for a while. A long while.
The current MLB CBA expires this next December, and these two sides are so far apart, barring a miracle, I don't know. Major League Baseball might be on the shelf for a while. But hey, maybe they'll bring back steroids in a few years and get the old band back together, right? One last story this week, and that actually comes to us from Daily Dose I-Team President Big Rob, who does find the stories that no one else can find. But we've actually got a scandal that seems to be brewing in those coming Winter Olympics. Of course, the Winter Games will be taking place in Italy from February 6th until February 22nd in Italy. And as usual, when it comes to those amateur games that teach us about the true spirit of competition, the cheating is always rampant. Well, it's already starting, because it seems that competitors preparing for the games are experimenting with a new and creative way to gain an advantage. I'm telling you now, kids, buckle up. This is going to get a little bit bumpy. Of course, the goal in the ski jumping competition is to jump as far as possible So, hey, competitors are looking for an advantage in aerodynamics. Well, it seems that jumpers are actually artificially enlarging their genital areas before official measurements by using substances such as hyaluronic acid, sometimes placed in a silicone-like sleeve to boost their crotch dimensions. The enlarged genital area allows the athletes to wear a slightly bigger ski jumping suit that generates more lift and improves aerodynamics, which in turn can add critical meters in flight. Before the games begin, ski jumpers are subjected to mandatory body scans to determine the dimensions of their suits under the guidelines of the sport's governing body. But a German news company named Bild is claiming that jumpers are allegedly using this hyaluronic acid to temporarily enlarge their genital area ahead of that scan, sometimes by injecting that substance into a sheath worn inside the suit, and sometimes by injecting that substance directly into their genital area. It allows for more lift, is what they say. So, once again, the Olympics are the model of pure competition. Hey, the Olympics bring us the human drama of athletic competition. The Olympics bring us the thrill of victory and the agony of injecting your genitals with hyaluronic acid. Also, where does one purchase hyaluronic acid? Asking, for a friend. So the NFL is now down to their final four as the divisional round of the playoffs took place over the weekend. And once again, we did have some wild games. And what had to be the wildest game took place between the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills in Denver on Saturday. The Broncos win a 33-30 overtime thriller in a game that had it all. The Broncos jumped out to a 23-10 lead thanks to a few Bills turnovers, but Bills quarterback Josh Allen mounted a comeback. Early in the fourth quarter, Allen led the Bills to 17 straight points, and they took a 27-23 lead. Then, Broncos second-year quarterback Bo Nix led the Denver offense on an 8-play, 73-yard drive that ended in a beautiful 26-yard pass to Marvin Mims, and the Broncos took a 30-27 lead, but Allen wasn't done. He tied it up, sent the game into overtime, and in overtime, the Broncos did nothing on their first possession, and the Bills were driving when Allen threw a long pass to wide receiver Brandon Cooks. He pulled the ball in, but Denver cornerback Jaquan McMillan pulled the ball away from him and made a controversial interception. Was it an interception? I'll be honest, as a Bronco fan, I wasn't sure. And then I saw the reverse angle. And then I understood, because if you watch it again, the ball is coming out of Brandon Cook's hands as he hits the ground. If McMillan isn't there, he's not making a catch. It's falling to the ground. Unfortunately for the Bills, McMillan was there and he took it from him. And the reverse angle shows exactly that. Now, Bo Nix drives the Broncos 75 yards thanks to some clutch play and some really dumb penalties by the Bills defense, including a roughing the passer by Joey Bosa and a complete meltdown by cornerback Tre'Davious White, who slammed his helmet on the ground near a ref. And the Broncos kicked a chip shot field goal to end it. So Josh Allen is now 0-7 in overtime games, and the Broncos are back in the AFC Championship game for the first time since 2015. Unfortunately, immediately after the game, Broncos head coach Sean Payton revealed that Bo Nix had broken a bone in his ankle on one of the final plays, and he is done. Backup Jarrett Stidham will be the starter as the Broncos go forward. Also on Saturday, the San Francisco 49ers went to Seattle to face the Seahawks in an NFC West rivalry game. And with all the injuries that the Niners have sustained, it's honestly pretty impressive that they even got this far. And I hope that if you are a Niners fan, you are into moral victories, because this game was over at the coin toss. The Seahawks opened the game with a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Rashid Shaheed, and that was as close as the Niners would get. The Seahawks put a 41-6 whooping on the Niners in a game that didn't feel as close as that score might indicate. The Niners turned it over 3 times to the Seahawks 0 times, and the game was over at halftime. Seattle moves on. Sunday morning in Foxborough Stadium, it was blustery and rainy and snowy as the Houston Texans faced the New England Patriots. Hey, this should have been a fun game. The Patriots have dominated a soft schedule. The Texans have maybe the best defense in the league. The only thing we forgot was the fact that Houston quarterback CJ Stroud, I don't know, it's like he forgot how to play quarterback. Stroud threw 4 interceptions, and the Texans turned the ball over 5 times total. And the Patriots, I mean, they weren't exactly dominant. They turned the ball over 3 times themselves, but they were able to run the ball more effectively. And the Patriots beat the Texans 28-16. Quarterback Drake May, he threw for just 179 yards, and some of that was weather. Some of it was the Texans' defense. But things are so bad for Houston, fans were crying for Davis Mills to take over for Stroud. Hey, that New England defense is solid, though. They held the Texans to just 48 rushing yards, but wow, CJ Stroud has really regressed since his rookie season. The Patriots are back in the AFC title game for the first time since 2018. So we finish off the divisional playoff weekend with a highly entertaining game in the snow as the Los Angeles Rams went to Chicago to face that weird Chicago Bears team on Sunday night. The Bears, they don't always look pretty, but they just keep pulling out unlikely win after unlikely win after unlikely win, and it looked like they might do it again on Sunday night. The Bears rallied from down 7 late, as on a 4th and 4 from the Rams' 14-yard line, Bears quarterback Caleb Williams ran backward, clear past the 40-yard line, before chucking a TD pass to the back of the end zone with 18 seconds left in regulation. It is officially a 14-yard pass. He threw it about 50 yards. So the game went to overtime. The Rams' first possession went nowhere, and the Bears took over and began driving. But then Caleb giveth, and Caleb taketh away. And with the Bears at midfield and only needing a field goal, Caleb Williams threw a pass to someone, not really sure who. It was intercepted. And then Matt Stafford drove the Rams offense down the field for a field goal to win it. I don't even know that interception was on Caleb. If I had to guess, I think that wide receiver cut his route short. It just looks bad for Caleb because he threw a pass into a gap where there was no one. But I think it was actually on the receiver, not on Williams. Hey, say what you want about Caleb Williams, and I don't always trust that guy. He might be one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league right now. I can't wait to see what he's going to do next year. Was this year a fluke? Or is this just who he is? Because, wow, when he's on, yeah, I don't want to turn the TV off. I'm going to stick and watch that kid. Pretty amazing stuff coming out of Chicago from Caleb Williams, but the Rams move on. So now we move forward to the conference championship games, and we will get the New England Patriots coming to Denver to face the Broncos, who will be starting their backup quarterback. And get this, the Denver Broncos are the only team in the NFL this year to not have another quarterback on the roster besides Bo Nix attempt a single pass. Oh, and by the way, they did it again last year too. So think about this. The New England Patriots have played the softest schedule in the NFL, they are saying, since the mid-90s. Kind of crazy. And in the NFL playoffs, the Patriots have now faced the Chargers with a completely decimated offensive line, the Texans with a completely decimated CJ Stroud, and the Denver Broncos with backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham. Honestly, has there ever been a softer path to the Super Bowl in history? I might have to think about that one. The Patriots are favored by 4.5 points, and they are the first road team to be favored in an NFL championship game since the Chiefs a few years back against the Bengals. So how's this game going to go? Well, I do think the Broncos are going to give the Patriots a game. Remember when Sean Payton got the job in Denver, what was his first free agent move? No, it wasn't going and getting defense. No, it wasn't going and getting a tight end. It was signing Jarrett Stidham. Stidham has now been in the program 3 years. Sean Payton knows quarterbacks, and let's not pretend that Sean Payton only won with Drew Brees. He won with some other guys down there, including a tight end named Taysom Hill, who won games for him. So I think Sean Payton has a little something in Jarrett Stidham. I just don't have enough faith in Jarrett Stidham to make plays in the clutch in a game of this magnitude. And I know there are a number of Bronco fans saying, hey, Stidham can just keep it rolling. But when you say that, I don't know that you're giving Bo Nix nearly enough credit for what he did this year. Hey, do not forget, Bo Nix absolutely outplayed Josh Allen in a playoff game. Now, I will be glad to be wrong, but I think the Denver home crowd gives this team a lift early, but that the Patriots come from behind and take over the game late and cover. Make my pick Patriots 27, Broncos 21, but I would be thrilled to be wrong. Go get a win, Jarrett Stidham. Go get a win, Denver defense. Hey, the biggest thing here, the pieces surrounding Jarrett Stidham must be better than they were for Bo Nix, because he is not that guy. He's not Bo Nix. He's not going to carry a team with his playmaking. They're going to have to be better, and that's where I get concerned. And then we move over to the NFC, where we are going to get an NFC West team going to the Super Bowl, as the Los Angeles Rams will go to Seattle to face the number 1 Seahawks, who will be without running back Zach Charbonnet, who is done, it sounds like, for the season with a significant knee injury. The Seahawks are a 2.5-point favorite, and this will be the rubber match as these two teams split the season series by each winning at home during the regular season. Hey, the Rams have the league's best offense. They have a Super Bowl champion quarterback in Matt Stafford, and the Rams don't usually make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over, and they don't commit many penalties. I like that. When you look back at the divisional round, you could pretty much just check the turnovers and see who won. When you turn it over at this level, you get sent home. And the Rams are very good at not turning the ball over. But I think the Seahawks defense keeps this tight, and I think the Seattle running game with Kenneth Walker Jr. does enough to allow quarterback Sam Darnold to have some success in the passing game. Give me the Seahawks to win and to cover, and I will say Seahawks 30, Rams 24 in that championship game, giving us the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 60, just as I predicted about a month ago when we did our NFL playoff preview. Hey, I just want to let everyone know, you're welcome. But remember, you should be stopping by DailyDoseSports.com every week to check out what new things we have going on over there. We have links to the podcast. We have links to the videos. We have links to new articles that go up each week, and I have one this week about the Broncos playoff situation with a backup quarterback, so make sure you go over and check that out. Remember, you can always email the podcast at dailydosesports@gmail.com. Love to hear from listeners, and you can pick up some Daily Dose gear at dailydosesports.com as well. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, baseball caps. Go check it out at dailydosesports.com. Now, as we do so many weeks here at the Daily Dose, we need to get over to our Daily Dose Top 5. Hey, as we have talked about today, the Denver Broncos are going into the AFC Championship this Sunday for the first time since 2015. They are also going into that game with a backup quarterback, as Bo Nix broke a bone in his ankle, and Jarrett Stidham, a 7-year veteran, will be the starter, but he's a 7-year veteran with just 4 total starts. But hey, we've seen backup quarterbacks step in for starters and lead their teams to Super Bowl victories. Tom Brady did it, Nick Foles did it, Earl Morrall, Jim Plunkett, Doug Williams, Kurt Warner, Jeff Hostetler. They all came in as backups, and they all had success and won a Super Bowl. But there's a key difference there. Those guys got plugged into the lineup way earlier in the season. Today, our Daily Dose Top 5 is counting down 5 times backup quarterbacks were pushed into a starting role very, very late in the season. Here's the question. Did any of them have success? Let's find out. We start off at number 5. And we go back to the year 2007. The Washington Commanders were still going by the Washington Redskins at that time, and quarterback Jason Campbell, well, he was having a solid season. Washington was 6-7 with 4 games left to play, and they faced the Chicago Bears in Week 14, and then Campbell got hit by Mark Anderson, and he dislocated his patella. He had to be carted off the field. However, backup quarterback Todd Collins came on in relief of Campbell, and he played pretty well. Washington beat the Bears, then the Giants, then the Vikings, then the Cowboys, and they closed the season on a 4-game winning streak with Collins at quarterback. So Washington finished the season 9-7. They qualified as a wild card, and they faced the Mike Holmgren-led Seattle Seahawks. Hey, Washington kind of had it going. They were galvanized behind Collins. And don't forget, they kind of came together due to the murder of safety Sean Taylor during the season. And it wasn't like Collins was a rookie. This is a 9-year veteran. He had been a starter in Buffalo. Yeah, it didn't matter. The Seahawks whipped Washington 35-14, and Collins was okay. He went 29 of 50 for 266 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, which sounds good. But trailing 21-14, Collins threw back-to-back pick sixes to blow the game open. And Seattle cruised. Todd Collins had started just 3 games going into the playoffs, and when he got there, he got beat. Todd Collins comes in today at number 5. We move on to number 4, and we go back to the 2012 NFL season, where somehow Christian Ponder had led the Minnesota Vikings to a 10-6 record and a wild card berth in the NFL playoffs. Hey, Ponder didn't have to do much. He turned around and he handed the ball off to running back Adrian Peterson, who went over 2,000 yards rushing on the season. The Vikings were to face their division rival, the Green Bay Packers, in the wild card round. But in the final game of the regular season against those same Packers, Ponder would go down with a serious right elbow injury. He actually ended up in the ER. The Vikings had to go into the NFL playoffs with a quarterback named Joe Webb starting. Yeah, not surprisingly, Aaron Rodgers outdueled Joe Webb, and the Packers rolled to an easy 24-10 victory. And yeah, Webb was pretty bad. He went 11 of 30, had 180 yards, he had a touchdown, but he had 3 interceptions. Remember what I said about turnovers. And the Packers defense did a pretty good job against Adrian Peterson. He had just 99 yards on the day. I mean, Webb wasn't a rookie. He had started 16 games in previous seasons in Minnesota, but the moment in the playoffs was just too big for him. Joe Webb started his first game of 2012 in the playoffs, and he took an L, and he comes in at number 4. We arrive at number 3, and we go back to the year 2005, where Carson Palmer had led the Cincinnati Bengals to an 11-5 record, and they won the AFC North. They would face their AFC North division rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in the wild card round. The game was in Cincinnati. The Bengals had split with the Steelers in the regular season. But early in the first quarter, Palmer dropped back to pass. He was inside his own 10-yard line, and he threw a deep strike to wide receiver Chris Henry, who caught the ball in stride and took the ball to the Pittsburgh 22-yard line. The home crowd went crazy. Everyone is celebrating. This is exactly the kind of start they needed. And then everyone slowly realized Palmer had his knee rolled up. He had to be carted off the field with a blown ACL. Enter veteran quarterback Jon Kitna, who had been a starter in Seattle and Cincinnati. But Kitna wasn't Palmer. And despite jumping out to a 10-0 lead, the Bengals would fold. They would get blown out 31-17. Kitna would go 24 of 40 for 197 yards and a touchdown, but again, he threw 2 costly interceptions. Jon Kitna was thrust into the NFL playoffs without so much as a warm-up game. And when he got there, he got beat. And he comes in today at number 3. So we reached number 2 on our list of NFL quarterbacks that did not get a start until very late in the season. And you might be hearing this list right now and going, well, yeah, but this list is a bunch of nobodies. I mean, Todd Collins, Joe Webb, Jon Kitna, big deal. Well, at number 2, we have an all-time great to add to this list because we go back to 1972, and the Dallas Cowboys went 10-4 under head coach Tom Landry and a quarterback named Craig Morton. The Cowboys would be a wild card team and face the San Francisco 49ers in that wild card round, and the Niners jumped out to a 28-13 lead, and Morton was pretty ineffective. So Landry pulled him and put Roger Staubach in the game, who rallied the Cowboys to an unlikely 30-28 come from behind win. Staubach would get his turn to start in the divisional round as the Cowboys would face their NFC East rival, the Washington Redskins. But in that game, it was Staubach that struggled. He went 9-20 for 98 yards, and he got beat by Billy Kilmer and the Washington Redskins. Hey, Roger Staubach is the only guy on our list today to get the nod, not because of injury, but because of performance. And it worked for one game. But then Roger Staubach got blown out too. And he comes in today at number 2. So we reach the number 1 NFL backup quarterback that took over the starting role very late in the season and went to the playoffs. And we go back to the year 1992. The Buffalo Bills had gone to back-to-back Super Bowls in 90 and 91. And in 92, they were rolling again. They finished the season with an 11-5 record and earned a wild card berth. However, in the final regular season game, the Bills would play the Houston Oilers, and starting quarterback Jim Kelly would suffer a knee sprain. Backup Frank Reich would take over, but the Bills would lose to Houston. And as luck would have it, the Bills would then host those same Oilers in the wild card round of the playoffs, and it didn't start well. The Oilers jumped on the Bills in Buffalo. They took a 35-10 lead behind quarterback Warren Moon, and thanks to a pick six thrown by Reich in the third quarter. But then Reich and the Bills got hot. The Bills rolled off 31 straight points, and Reich would throw 4 touchdowns as the Buffalo Bills posted the greatest comeback in NFL history. They beat the Houston Oilers 41-38 behind backup Frank Reich. Reich would keep it rolling the following week. The Bills would beat the Steelers in the divisional round, and then Jim Kelly would return to beat the Miami Dolphins in the AFC Championship and go on and lose Super Bowl 27. But since 1950, exactly one quarterback has made their first start of the season in the playoffs and won. And that guy's name is Frank Reich. This Sunday, the Denver Broncos will start backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham against the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship. It is his first start of the season. Hey, maybe Stady will have a Frank Reich kind of day. But as you can see from our Daily Dose Top 5, starting your first game late in the season, it doesn't always produce the best results. Hey, next week on the Dose, we have now been doing this podcast for 11 years. But I'm telling you right now, I'm chasing a guest that is unlike anything we have ever done in those 11 years. I highly encourage you, check out the Daily Dose next week. You will not be disappointed. Be sure you check it out and be sure you let a friend know to do the same. Hey, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for listening to the Daily Dose every week. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the texts. Thank you for the tweets. But more than anything, thank you for sharing the show, for sharing the videos, and for sharing the articles with someone that you know. We absolutely love it when you do that. Have to thank you to JSP. Could not do any of this without you. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.
Let's just say that I don't have to worry about working for a while. A long while.